DC News Now is your local election headquarters. Maryland's race for governor featuring Democrat Wes Moore and Republican Dan Cox's race certainly has had its fill of drama and intrigue.
Yeah, and both have views or pass set of race questions. Our political reporter Leonard Fleming ends his series tonight on what voters see as controversies in their campaign. Leonard, good evening.
Good evening. Both candidates have answered my questions on how they would handle crime, the economy, and govern for everyone. And with campaigns come tough questions on topics that may be uncomfortable. These are distractions both candidates have used against each other. Take a listen.
Elections don't generally come without controversy. Republican Dan Cox continuing to be a 2020 presidential election denier, and Democrat Wes Moore letting many believe he was born in Baltimore when he wasn't. My question to Moore.
It was more than just a few interviews. It was several interviews where people would, from Oprah Winfrey to Judy Woodruff to Steve Colbert, would introduce you and say you were from Baltimore, and you didn't correct them on that. Talk about why that wasn't done on your end.
I wish I had the luxury of being able to, when someone says, where are you from, to have it be a simple and a clean answer. You know, I moved around a lot when I was young because of trauma, because of tragedy, because I watched my father die in front of me when I was almost 4 years old because he didn't get the health care that he needed. And when my mom struggled, she then moved us up to live with my grandparents in New York.
And to Cox.
You believe the 2020 election, presidential election, was stolen from Donald Trump, and if you believe that, why?
Does the media believe that the Frederick County election right now was stolen from the young lady who won by 1 vote? Election integrity goes across all party lines. No one wants anomalies. No one wants to see what we saw in 2020, where we had mail-in ballots with no chain of custody, where we have right now issues pending before the courts of Maryland about problems with our mail-in ballots, where the state board says they need to be able to start counting them as they're being voted on.
Moore says he's done nothing wrong.
But could you have corrected the record? Should he have corrected the record?
I've never misled or tried to mislead anybody. In fact, people will say, even political opponents or people who have tried to politicize this ridiculously, have tried to politicize this. There's nothing that I wrote nor said that's inaccurate. Nothing. You know, that if you look every single, on page 7 of my book, I talk about my journey and where I was born. On page 37 of my book, I talk about moving around and going from Maryland to New York and moving back to Maryland. So there is nothing that I have said nor written that is inaccurate.
And Cox is resolute despite facts otherwise.
Do you believe that election was stolen from former President Trump?
Yes.
He legitimately won it?
I believe when the evidence is shown, as it should have been, that is likely the result, because we all witnessed it. We saw, and I was up in Philadelphia, we saw the lack of any kind of verification on the mail-in signatures.
But the Supreme Court and other lower courts rejected every single case that was heard. And some of these people were appointees of President Trump. So are they all wrong in this case?
Not entirely accurate. The Supreme Court accepted the affidavits and halted the Pennsylvania count for a week, you might recall.
True.
And it was because they couldn't get the requisite number of votes to hear the case. But that doesn't mean that these justices that agreed that there were problems significant enough to change the outcome potentially.
So no, I'm not going to apologize to someone who's choosing to politicize something for their own political gain because they have nothing else to talk about.
To learn more about these candidates and their views on important issues, please check out our previous reports on www.dcnewsnow.com. For DC News Now, I'm Leonard N. Fleming.